Now I'd like to turn it over to Michaela Pereira, our moderator for our next conversation. Michaela is a seasoned broadcast journalist. She started her career in BC, Canada, spent time in San Francisco and New York, and now calls LA home. You can catch her weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. on Good Day LA on Channel 11 locally. Now, this segment of our program focuses on women entrepreneurs in Los Angeles. And there is no finer expert on these matters than Jane Werwind, LA entrepreneur, philanthropist, and activist. In 1986, Jane built Dermalogica into a multi-million-dollar international business, and in 2018, she launched Found LA, a nonprofit initiative to provide community, capital, and education for local entrepreneurs to succeed by building purpose into their business and life. We know small businesses have suffered during the pandemic, and Michaela and Jane will share more with us now. Welcome, Michaela and Jane.
Emerald, thank you so much. This is such a delight, and I've been so moved by the power, the tenacity, the grace, the perspective, the warmth, the humility that we heard, and the intelligence in that last panel. Jane, what a delight to get to spend some time with you, my dear, and to see your face. We got to chat yesterday, but I get to spend time one-on-one with you now.
I'm really excited, Michaela. Obviously, I've followed your career publicly, which so many people have here in Los Angeles, but also the work that you do for youth, foster youth, and Optimist Homes. So I've known you.
Oh, Jane. See how this one's clever. She did her research on me where I was supposed to be the one in. She turned the tables. Thank you for saying that. Kids and especially at-risk youth are my passion point. I'm an adoptee and very proud of it. And I know that my life could have turned out vastly differently. We want to shine a spotlight on you though, my dear. We want to shine the spotlight on you because the work that you've been doing with Found LA has been extraordinary. So let's back up a little bit. For those that are not necessarily familiar with the work of Found LA, give us the elevator pitch and why it was important for you at this stage in your life to do this.
Thanks, Michaela. Well, the Found LA is focused on those small local businesses that we call the invisible entrepreneurs in our community. We all know, we think of big entrepreneurs and you're probably naming, quite bluntly, 5 white guys who are all sort of in tech. And that's true. However, the invisible entrepreneurs are the glue of our community, and they are the small local businesses that are not getting funded. They're self-funding on 3 credit cards, $28,000. We self-funded Dermalogica on $14,000. I'm a woman, I'm an immigrant, and I grew up as the youngest daughter of a woman who was widowed at 38 years old. She raised the 4 of us and could do it because she was a nurse. So all of that factors into my understanding of what it means to be able to provide. Yeah. And local businesses are the long tail of local job creation as well. We need them. Yeah. Found LA focuses on funding those local entrepreneurs. We do it with various funders, with low percentage funding. We also now offer grants. We just launched $1 million grant specifically for COVID. And we focus on women, minorities, underserved communities, and immigrants.
You know what? It just gives me so much delight. I think so many of us have often looked at these, at the 1% and think, why aren't they doing more on the ground level? And it takes a woman to do that. I see it, I recognize it, and I appreciate what you have been doing. Jane, you and your foundation, you and your husband together, powerful force in our city. And because you came from this, the struggle. And the struggle this year. We know that women and girls and minority women, as we talked about in the last panel, have been inordinately borne the brunt of this pandemic. You mentioned briefly just now that you guys have been able to make some really beautiful grants during the pandemic. Can you highlight a couple of the stories? Because this one really warmed my heart.
Well, one thing we know about local businesses is on a good day, in a good year, less than 25% can actually survive beyond 3 months without income. So many can't survive a month. This is a group of businesses that relies on our support, or we will not have them. Already, it's been predicted on Yelp that over 62% of all businesses will not come back are small businesses. These are the ones you see every day when you walk around your neighborhood. And it's maybe more convenient to order from a big box store, but trust me, your $45 to a big box store is nothing. It is so much to a small local business. We have to rethink how we're helping those businesses. One thing that I see every day in the work that we do with Found is that, first of all, we focus on women, underserved communities, and immigrants. And they are fierce, scrappy, dedicated, bright, creative, and there is no plan B. So it's not like there is a safety net. Many feel that their documentation is in question and they don't want to be above the radar. They fell between the cracks for the PPP loans, and they need us as a community to lift them up. We have Danny Celerio, she's the owner, along with her wife Samantha, of Compton Health Bar, and she is a fierce entrepreneur, highly successful, working hard. She's a voice for that community. And she has managed to scramble together not just to-go orders of her herbs and her recovery potions and the famous Compton Detox program that she does, but she has pulled in community members and she employs them, she hires them, they come. And remember, these local businesses are not just a place of commerce, they're a community hub. So many people go to Danny's health bar and sit and talk and share. I know that from the salon industry. Trust me, people aren't just coming in because they need to get their roots done. They're coming in because
they need some therapy.
Exactly, that's what we do. And by the way, the salon industry, which I'm a part of and have been my whole life, 64% of all the businesses are owned by women, and 98% of skin therapists are women. So we know what it's like to be an entrepreneur, and I am completely inspired by our local Found entrepreneurs. We have done pivot programs with them. We are helping them virtually, and I'm amazed at how many of them have been able to step forward and supply advice and product virtually.
The camera, because I'm gonna have to.
Oh, we have to mute somebody that just joined, if possible. One of the things that I also love about the community, the small business community that we've seen out of the pandemic, and I know you saw this too, is neighbor helping neighbor, small business helping small business. And we're tribal. Women have been doing this for centuries, since the beginning of time, leaning across the aisle and helping other women, right? Other entrepreneurial women do this. One of the things that we had a chance to look at through some of the data you and I both from the report. One of the interesting data points that I found fascinating was that California has the most women-owned businesses in the country.
Yeah.
And I love that about our state, first of all. What is it that seems so ideal? What is the fertile ground here that makes it so ideal for women to start businesses in our state, in your estimation, Jane?
Yeah, I think Maria, when she opened up the previous panel, said it right, that, things start in California and they spread across the country, good and bad sometimes, but it was around the world. We're the 5th biggest economy in the world, and I think we have to keep remembering that. This is a hotbed of entrepreneurship. When I came here, I arrived as an immigrant in 1983. I feel the same energy now. It's this stickiness. It's this sense of possibility. Something that's I don't know, is it baked in the soil? Is it because we're all terrified of the big earthquake coming that we've got to do it now and do it big?
Maybe.
I don't know, but there's a sense of that. You feel it all the time. I feel it, especially in Los Angeles. And I know we're in a cultural, social, political, gender revolution on our planet right now. And I feel so strongly that California specifically will bring us through and lead the way. We're going to come through this and there will be such creativity shown in the businesses. But let's make sure that we're funding small businesses. Let's make sure that we are not just focusing on advanced education through university and the corporate world for women. Let's make sure that we're looking at how do you have your own business? How do you get a skill set training? And it's not just the 4-year or the MBA. It's about how do you learn how to do something that can help support you even when things turn rough.
And, that's a very interesting thing, because I know that we've done a good job of letting our young men and young boys know that there are other options for them that don't necessarily follow an academic path. And I know that for me, I always want to let every student have the ability to make that choice, right? You get to have a choice. I don't want it predetermined for you. But I also really strongly believe that academics isn't for everyone in terms of post-secondary education. There are other paths to brilliant success and fulfillment. I think we need to be having more of those conversations with our young women.
Yeah, I think that there's a sense of disillusionment that's happened in this last year, and I've sensed it even in the report of, is this how
Sure.
far we got? Are we slipping back? Someone on the chat just now said, it feels like we're in a rip current. As fast as we go
Yeah.
forward, we're getting pushed sideways and back. And that feeling of it's not just isolation and loneliness, it's despondency.
Yes.
And I think the reason is if we keep thinking everything relies on me being allowed to work in a corporate environment, or accessing even more education, or having to prove myself again and again, that feels daunting when you've basically been given a year out of work. And for many people, literally out of work, not by choice. So they work
Yeah.
from home. They can't work from home. There's a whole discussion around that. Do you have enough broadband? Do you have enough laptops? Are you in a
Sure.
position where you can even access something online?
That digital divide is real. You know, you and I have just met, and I look forward to being able to break bread with you one day soon when the world opens up more. One of the things about me is that my tribe of women friends, my female friends, I love shining a light on them. I love to be able to. My goal, my dream for them is that they would be able to see themselves how I see them. Right? We're not great, we women, about singing our own praises. Part of it's the way we've been raised, part of the ways we've been socialized, and oftentimes we'll overlook our own assets and gifts. So I want you to do a thing for me right now. I want you to sing the praises for our sisters. In terms of women and entrepreneurial spirit in women, what are the unique assets and abilities and talents and skill sets that we bring to the table?
Oh, listen, there's no one that can reinvent themselves as often as women do. I mean, if you think about it, first of all, many of us have changed our names at some point. And if you've been, if
Yep.
you've married and decided to change your name, you might have done it more than once. We actually think about that, we actually take on completely different names, which is bizarre, quite honestly.
is.
However, we also change our entire bodies when we give birth. We're creative, we can do multiple things. And it's not just about this sort of multitasking, aren't we smart? We do it because we have to. We do it because not just because we can, but we have to. We figure it out. And that has always been the hallmark of women. And we can do this. We have it inside us. Just when you think it's an imposter syndrome kicking in, don't worry, nobody knows anything until they do it. None of us knew we could do this until we did it. So I have complete faith, I've seen it proven time and time again in my own life and in my own career, that honestly, when everything's thrown down on the mat, women will get up. And we may be a little despondent at the minute, but we're coming back, and we're coming back big. And I will also tell you that in our specific business of our industry globally, we see that sector of the private salon, rather than the retail business that we have with other companies, the private salon, the entrepreneurs are the mainstay of our business, and they are doing the most creative and imaginative things. Let's support them.
Yes.
Let's unlock funding for them. Let's unlock private funding and not just rely on the VCs or the private equities or the angel investors. We've got wealthy families and corporations in California. Let's unlock some of that foundation capital. Get it to the local entrepreneurs with specificity to women, immigrants, and minorities. We need it.
Will you roll with me for a second? You said two words that have been dominating 2021 for me, in the respect that I've been dealing with it my entire life, but I've decided this year is the year it gets to kick rocks. And I know I'm not alone, ladies. Imposter syndrome. It is prevalent. I think you'd be lying if you said you didn't experience it at some point in your professional career, in life, the first day of school, walking into a new job. Jane, have you had to grow through that journey?
Yeah, listen, I immigrated here, and it was 2 years before I realized 911 was the number you dialed for an emergency.
999 in the UK, right?
It's 999. Right? So nothing happened in the first 2 years. But we all have that sense on a daily basis of, I don't really know what I'm doing. I think I'm doing a good job fooling everybody, but everyone seems to have a hell of a lot of a better grip on this than I do. No, it's not true. We all have big, messy lives. That's what makes it authentic. Bring it all. Bring your baby, bring your dog. We have, babies crying in the background. We do a family meeting, a family office meeting found every Monday at 11. And we love it when the babies join and the pets join and people can come in.
I love that.
Bring it all. That's what makes us who we are, and bring it big. And I'm with you, Michaela. I'm done with having to contort myself into what other people might be comfortable with.
Yes.
Be truly you. And now is the time.
Now is the time.
We're ready for it all.
Let's shed off those shackles. My neighbor gave me this beautiful ring. I'm not wearing it today, that says, I am enough. And I wear that on days when I'm not feeling enough as a touchstone to be reminded that I am, damn it, I am enough.
Absolutely more than enough. Think of
if we all had a glass, we could raise it right now to that. There you go. I want to see if you'll do something for me. I want you, as somebody that is on the ground working in this space, working with entrepreneurs, working with small business, seeing what the reality is in 2021, in the middle of the approach to post-pandemic life. Give Los Angeles a scorecard. How are women-owned businesses faring in our beautiful city?
Well, I listen. Women-owned businesses are dominant in our city because we have more women-owned businesses than any other area. Los Angeles County has the largest amount of minority-owned women-owned businesses, and so you can look at any of your neighborhoods, any of your communities, and you see those women hard at work in those businesses. But don't forget, as we've all acknowledged, we're all juggling a life outside of our business and having to do both. And so I feel strongly that if we don't acknowledge the incredible contribution to our economy that our local women-owned businesses are contributing, and immigrant-owned businesses too, and often both, then we're missing the biggest opportunity to go forward. This is where not just are we going to support those businesses, we're going to bind our communities. And isn't it true? No one wants to live next door to the big box store.
Nope.
We want to be able to go to the local bakery, florist, dog group, mechanic, salon, tailor, etc. Let's make sure they're all still there, and the majority are owned by women.
So dig into that a little bit more, because I know that one of the things that we hear all the time, it's almost to the point where it's a bumper sticker: support small business, support small business. You just gave some ideas right now, but drill deeper on how we can think differently about supporting small business when we are preparing for Easter, preparing for, 4th of July, whatever in our lives right now.
Well, first thing, you think of where you're shopping, and again, I know that it's it's so convenient to order online, but those dollars, we've seen what's happening online. I mean, it's spiking through the roof. This is a good time for so many online businesses. But that means those dollars have been taken out of your local community. So go to those local stores. So they might not have the exact thing that you could have ordered that came from somewhere else, but they will have something that is more important to you every day. And that is, they care. They are there. Go and support them. And when you go in, I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but say hello, introduce yourself.
Absolutely.
How is it going? It's good to see you. Thank you for being open. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And instead of going to the big supermarket chains, although they are already fully supported, they can do deliveries, they can do pick up curbside. A lot of small businesses can't.
Right.
So go to that business and support them. Think of where your dollars matter. It's all very well buying gift cards or paying it forward by buying gift cards to your favorite restaurants and giving them money now and having those meals maybe even next year. But think about your daily shopping and where you go to buy. And let's make sure that we see it as almost a community funding with our own dollar rather than just shopping.
And if you're digitally minded, I follow a lot of people on Instagram. You can find their own shops there. You can follow people on Etsy and buy from small, tiny businesses before they're even starting to get off the ground. It's a way of funding. I've done that with Black jewelry designers. I've done that with Black clothing designers. It's a great way to show your support by also, voting with your dollars.
And if anyone needs advice or help as to where they could be shopping, go to our website, founderled.org.
There you go.
And if you go to foundla.org, not only can you find the local entrepreneurs in your neighborhood, you can also see exactly how to support them during this COVID period. And many of them are doing gift cards online. Many of them have collaborated together. And that's the other thing about entrepreneurs. We need each other. One of our glues at Found LA is connecting our entrepreneurs to each other so that they don't feel they're the only ones struggling.
Exactly.
They don't know how to do it. They realize that it's all
They're not alone.
they're not alone ever.
Okay. One of the things that I loved that you said, we had a prep call for those of you who didn't know that this is all going so seamlessly. We had a prep call yesterday to make sure that it would go so, and Jane and I had a chance to talk, and I heard Jane say something so powerful. You spoke about the fact that women entrepreneurs have been, and women have been patient for so long.
Yeah.
And you're done with the patience.
I'm done with the patient. I was on a panel 2 weeks ago, and one of the people on the panel, a gentleman, older, and he said women have to be patient about not receiving funding. In other words, we receive less than 4% of all available funding. That doesn't just mean private equity or venture capital. That means any funding, including a bank. So he said, well, you have to be patient in order, for it to, and I said, well, how patient do you think we should be? We've waited long enough.
Yes.
We contribute to this economy, the 5th biggest in the world, in a way that has long been unrecognized. We do it at home, we do it in the workplace, we do it as entrepreneurs, we do it as corporations, we do it in our Zoom calls, we do it face-to-face on one-on-ones. We need to stand up and we need to say, it's enough. We've been patient long enough. We waited long enough for this to turn. It's not turning on its own.
No.
We have to step up, fund women-owned businesses, support each other with our dollars and our spending, and make sure that we are seen and found.
Which is why it's called Found LA. She wrote in a closer look essay in this year's report about women-owned business, and I'll end with this. And it was so poignant. These are Jane's words. Small businesses are gathering places for the local community. If small businesses vanish, our sense of place and belonging vanishes with them. Powerful words from Jane Warwin. Thank you so much for being in conversation with me, my dear. And I can't wait to do it with a glass of wine the next time we get to do it in person. Jane, a delight. Emerald, back to you.
Thank you so much, Michaela. That was so insightful. I'm so grateful for both of you for helping us understand the women-owned business landscape in California and how we can support women moving forward. It was truly fantastic.